Uh, John,
Yes, yes.
um, if we see outside, and like at least I speak from my own experience. We, I experience the world with respect to a center called I. So that I encompasses of body experiences. Uh, yeah. Why do we see the world with respect to a center, with respect to an I? See, without assuming as so and so, still body or mind can function. It can perceive the things, it can hear the things. But why should this, assumption of a center happen? It happens in everyone's case, somehow knowingly or unknowingly. After I born, my mother started pointing, me and saying I, and she was pointing herself and was started saying body as herself as I. That's how first they started pointing myself as I. Then whatever is experiencing, hearing, they started saying that I'm experiencing it. So that's how I this I was learned, and through that assumption, all the perceptions or experience or operating. That's when like whenever I started feeling something pleasant, I started feeling like okay, I am feeling that pleasantness. So I somehow assume that I if I get that pleasantness again next time, I'll be happy. That's how this desire is getting formed, and you know the persuasion of desire goes on, like that desire is formed, like something pleasant happened, so I want to seek that pleasantness such that I will be happy. In this process there is no at all, just operations are going on with the wrong assumption of center I'm experiencing or seeing the world. So in this process only suffering or or what do you call biases, everything are formed. Why this center is coming into the existence in the very first place?
Well, again, you know yourself, and you say, "Oh, I exist. I exist as what? This body form is available. A snapshot is taken that I'm this person, or I'm this object, and there are other objects, and therefore everything that goes through mind is now perceived from the perspective that I'm an object and there are other objects, and I have to interrelate with them somehow. You don't know yourself as formless. You're not born and you just know, oh, I'm formlessness. No, you're, like you said, your mom, your dad, whoever, you're impressed that this is you, this body, this lump of goo. And see, if we look at it like that, the five elemental goo, and that's all it is. Like Nisargadatta Maharaj says, it's like the spit, which is like, okay, semen and this egg, they get together and they create this lump of goo. And this lump of goo then grows. And the presence that you are identifies that this lump of goo, I mean, all the energy is moving this lump of goo. It's it's forming the hand. It's doing all this. You're not doing anything when you're inside the womb. Everything is just happening for you. Once you come outside the womb, then you think that somehow, some way that you have to do something because someone says, I'm going to stamp this body named Rami. And now Rami does good things and Rami does bad things. And these are the egoistic sense that I am a doer. But again, roll it back to prior to beingness. Because once you get inside the body-based illusion and you've stepped down into this like body perception, then there's no true, there's no false. So it's very, very difficult. You have to just go back to the primary, back to prior to beingness. Prior to beingness, no mom, no dad, no world, no nothing, nothing, nothing. So because you're formless, and all of this has occurred, and you took the wrong perception of I'm something, and there are other things, but you're nothing. You're the formlessness that's powering and doing this whole world, the background to everything. So you look at yourself and you say, this is me. And that forms this individual I sense. Now you go and you will progress and you'll inside this bubble of illusion. Like we talked about before, you're a fish. Every decision you're making is within the fishbowl, but you think you're deciding and you're having a life and all this. So everything is occurring within the bubble of illusion. You believe you're growing up, you have parents, you have hopes and dreams and all these sort of things, but all of that is within the bubble of illusion. It's a long dream, and the long dream is I am somebody else. I am this body, but I'm not this body. And I can find this out with meditation, because in meditation I can sit, I start to feel this very, very subtle presence. And as I pay more attention to the presence and less attention to the things that are occurring within that presence, then I'm kind of taught, my mind is taught to be drawn and say, okay, there's presence. Let's remain here. This is happening out here. No, but I remain here. And eventually then I go and I find a guru or a spiritual teacher or something, which is actually, again, inside the fishbowl or the bubble of illusion. And this guru tells me, you are not body, you were not body, you're not going to remain the body. So this formless presence that I can sort of, this very subtle presence, I'm feeling this, and I notice that when my attention goes to this presence, and I can only do that because of the use of this instrument. I don't identify this instrument as myself, but I can use it to like dip the cup into the nectar of immortality and sip. And I'm slowly sipping this presence. Oh, yes. Oh, okay, good. And they call it like consciousness, worshiping consciousness, or whatever you want to call it. It's like presence with presence, be with you always. And then this out here doesn't make so much attention anymore. I don't need to draw out. And when I do, I go back. Oh, yeah, okay. And once I've remained here long enough, then the thoughts that are going on about out here, I don't want to look at those thoughts. I want to just be here, because I start to know. And the presence just, it reveals itself that this is the reality. Like there's no, that's why Nisargadatta Maharaj says, when Siddharmeshwar Maharaj told him, you're not body, and you're everything. He said, I remain with the I am all the time, in every waking moment. I go and I do my work, but I remain with I am. In every moment, I'm remaining with I am. And this I am is that sense of presence, this sense of existence, and then the existence that's appearing, or the illusory appearances, all the layers on presence, I'm no longer so caught up in, because I'm just here. And then eventually, this just here becomes the subtle knower of the sense of presence. The presence, again, is like if you have a flower and you breathe this flower, you can smell the aroma. So with eyes closed, there's a flower by the aroma. Well, you are by this sense of presence, that you are. And it, again, we talk about you're not counting yourself. Like, okay, there's somebody here and there's this sense of presence. Well, this sense of presence is appeared to you. That's why birth is the appearance of I am. And death, so-called death, is no more I am. But all that appeared to you. You're not being born and you're not dying. And these bodies are being, in their own little way, the elements are coming and making another body, and then this body grows up and wants to get together and make another body, and those bodies, and you're that is animating all of it. But you're formless. You've never actually had any experience. You can perceive time, but you don't experience time. You're perceiving all these various things because you have a body that you're using, but in reality, you're not this body. This body is just an instrument of perception of whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But the individual I is not true. And meditation, mantra and meditation, this will show you this. Because as your mantra throughout your day, you'll see that this body is going through and doing all these things, but there's no sense of doership because there's no mind sitting there creating a sense of experiencing.